Yo, welcome back to another Warriors video. Little recap reaction. Uh, didn't do one for the Thunder Warriors in-season tournament game. Dom and I are gonna do that on the podcast, which is gonna happen tomorrow. So just felt like saving it because he's a Thunder fan. I'm a Warriors fan. Just makes sense. However, the Warriors did play today again. Another road game. I think we still have like 2 or 3 more before the Warriors have a little bit of a home stretch here. This one in Cleveland. Obviously, the Warriors are, playing this game coming off of a grueling, just insane night for the Thunder. I know Shea was out, but Jesus Christ, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, move over. Apparently, Lou Dort's the second coming of Christ. You know what I mean? But that, they came off of that game, punch for punch game. You just couldn't let the brakes off at all. And they head into Cleveland, and it was kind of another game where Cleveland. I mean, first off, for the Thunder, I mean, they played very well, but that's a game where it's like, I don't think the Thunder are going to be doing that again anytime. Shooting that well, that was insane. That was just insane, especially guys like Chet. We've talked about it with Dom. The efficiency's been there. He's just been insane. But for Lou Dort, he just had the best game of his career. I know he had the game 7, but no, man, that was just 6 of 6 from 3. At one point, 9 of 9 from the field, like 5 of 5 from the line. Fuck off, that's not happening again. Anyways, coming into this Cleveland game, we talked about it a little bit when the Thunder played the Cavs. They've been down a couple guys, some pretty big pieces like Jarrett Allen and Darius Garland. Those are 2 of their big names on that roster that really round that thing out over there. And so it was kind of, Donovan Mitchell's team to carry for a few games. And with that, they were winless at home coming into tonight. And thankfully for them, they had Jarrett Allen back and Darius Garland back in the lineup. Full strength. I think they were both back for the last game Cleveland played. Could be mistaken. Maybe it was one of the 2. But both were back tonight. Everyone was healthy and playing. And last season, man, Cleveland was the #1 defense in this league. That Twin Tower lineup was very difficult to overcome for a lot of teams. They just really restrict you from the paint. Obviously, that Knicks series just fell apart for them. But for the Warriors, man, this was just one of those nights where you're tired. They're like super hungry for a win. Everyone's back, and they're looking to just get that first home win on the board and just kind of stop the bleeding in a sense. Most of the shots the Warriors missed were short, aside from CP. I feel bad for CP because he missed a lot of shots tonight. How many was it? He missed 8 shots tonight. Most of them literally rattled in and then out. These are shots we typically see Chris Paul make that just didn't go. They weren't short, they weren't long, it wasn't a bad miss or anything, it was just they were rattling out. But for the majority of the Warriors guys, shots were just short, and they've been on the road quite a bit. So, and again, that really grueling game against OKC, this is a veteran bunch. It's one of the reasons why, everyone says Draymond's the reason, Pods and TJD came back up. But I think the reality is these guys, you just were in a big shootout with the Thunder. If you go into a shootout with the Cavs, you're gonna need to lean on the young guys a little bit heavier, and they did that tonight. And in my opinion, I think they stepped up to the plate. Kuminga had some good moments. I still think Jonathan. It's just It really blows my mind seeing guys that athletically gifted that just they shy away from the contact, or they don't really know how to play through the contact. Jonathan is, I'll say it again, he's not James Wiseman, where it's like this dude is incapable of dealing with contact, and anytime someone makes contact with it, it's just over. You've killed the entire thing. But with Kuminga, the first sign of contact, he's quick to just leave that contact and settle for a shot, a fade away, a little hook, whatever the case may be, or passing it away or something like that. I wish Kuminga was a little more assertive in the post. getting to the rim. He gets picked very easily when he gets into the post, especially against smaller players, which is infuriating to see, honestly. But he's making some jump shots, and frankly, 15 points off the bench. I think he had 19 against the Thunder. Even though it looks ugly, he's putting up points. He's giving you production. He's playing some good defense. I like that he's trying to make an effort to get on the glass. He only had 3 rebounds today, but again, you're playing this Cavs team. They're big. They're big as shit. They're probably the biggest team in the league aside from the Timberwolves as far as getting in the paint. But he's making an effort on the glass. But yeah, the Warriors just didn't really have anything going. Cleveland played spectacular defense, forced a lot of turnovers. Warriors could not get many jump shots off, and because the Cavs are that big of a team, it's hard for the Warriors to generate much rim pressure. Especially, one of the things we were talking about in the last podcast is the Warriors can kind of get a little, Steph reliant, and there's a double side to that, and the other side is sometimes Steph could get a little too away from himself, if that makes sense. He gets a little passive, and the first action will get cut off, and then he kind of just stands there, and everybody's waiting for Steph to make that next move, and he doesn't. And so Draymond is sitting there with the ball, nobody else is moving, so he has to settle for a jump shot. Or Chris Paul is sitting there waiting for someone to move, and everybody's just watching, and he settles for a jump shot. There's been a little bit of that lately. Again, the offense in general, aside from that Thunder game, the offense this season is still really trying to come along. The defense has been solid, but the offense is trying to make itself there, or get itself there, because it just hasn't really been to start. And that's, I think that's going to just come with time as everybody gets, more acclimated into the season. Wiggins is still trying to find his jump shot. Chris Paul is finding his. Dario's had a couple great games offensively, but tonight, 0 for 3, 0 points. He didn't really get anything off. Just wasn't a very good matchup either. Jared Allen and Mobley are just bigger, stronger. It was going to be tough for him. And, right now it's just trying to get everybody into the best position to score, and just the shots that we know they can make, have them make them. This is the second, worst shooting night the Warriors have had this season, which is not bad considering this was game 7 of this season, and you've played now 5 games on the road. To start off 4-1, and this is your worst shooting performance at 36% from the field, 39% from 3. You're fine with that. I think one of the big issues in this one too was the free throwing. We know that the Warriors were dead last in getting to the line last season. Tonight, they got to the line 30 times, but they missed 10 free throws. One of the reasons being, aside from Steph, a lot of the guys taking free throws are not good free throw shooters. Wiggins has never been a great free throw shooter. Kuminga, he surprisingly went 4 for 4 from the line. Dre went 6 of 6 from the line. But Trace Jackson Davis, 1 of 6. Moses missed 1. Already mentioned Wiggins. You wish Steph got to the line a bit more. He kind of went. He just disappeared a little bit in that game. Again, that's credit to Cleveland, just shutting down actions and stuff and forcing the ball out of his hand. But yeah, sometimes you get into the line, but it's just not the guys you want. Again, thankfully Draymond was making his, because if Draymond had a typical free throw night where he went 3 for 6, 4 of 6, and Kuminga went 2 for 4, 3 or 4, it would have looked really ugly. So they did their jobs, but yeah, free throwing, that was a bit of an issue. The turnovers, it was the same thing in the Thunder game, except it was just the first quarter. The Warriors had 6 first quarter turnovers and then ended the game with 12. They just completely sealed things off and really came together as a unit and moved the ball well. Again, credit to Cleveland. They were just making you take tough shots. They weren't giving you open looks, forcing you to drive and make decisions. And, they were settling getting you to the free throw line. And trying to make you beat them there. So Cleveland executed perfectly, and Warriors just couldn't really overcome that. So this was kind of like the Phoenix game. I'm not mad at the loss. It wasn't like an embarrassing game or one there that we should have easily won, or it wasn't anything like that. It was just, you're playing a team that was winless at home, finally got healthy. They already have Donovan Mitchell, who's a superstar. Darius Garland's an all-star caliber point guard. They had the best defense last season. They got better in the offseason, personnel-wise. So it was just going to be, one of those things where you're either able to, match them in their intensity, or they're not gonna let off the gas pedal, and that was what happened. So, we'll get into the box score here. Draymond. This is the third or fourth straight game where Draymond has scored 15 or more points. He's hitting his threes, man. He hit another 2 first quarter threes, both corner shots. Not hesitating, just playing within the flow of the offense, getting good looks, quicker release, making those threes, getting to the line, getting to the cup. We know how good he is on those DHOs and the split actions at, the little fake handoffs, getting to the rim and whatnot. Draymond's playing great basketball. He played some very good defense today. But again, you're playing two guys who are 6'11", 7 feet tall. It's just tough. It's just tough, especially when they're playing good basketball. Because Cleveland could be a little hit or miss. But tonight they were on, at least getting to the rim, because they didn't shoot particularly well. So it's a little bit tough for Draymond and Kevon to handle business as they normally can. Speaking of Kevon, another double-digit rebound game. Only played 15 minutes, but he really had to work overtime on the glass here. 5 offensive boards, trying to extend possessions. 11 total boards. He had the 5 assists, but again, I don't want to keep reiterating, but it's just a tough matchup. So the 15 minutes, because you wanted to play Saric a bit, try and bring out Jared Allen or bring out Evan Mobley. We got to see a lot of Trace Jackson Davis again. They ran a lot of speed 5 stuff, whether it have been Draymond or Kuminga, just trying to give the Cavs different looks, but none of it really worked. It was just the Warriors weren't hitting, so it was tough. But Loon, good game for him. Wiggins, again, he's still trying to find it. I don't know when he will. I hope it's soon, but he's still trying to find it. They're rebounding. He's definitely making more of an impact on the glass. He's really trying to crash the boards and extend possessions, just like we saw in those finals. And that's the biggest thing for me. It's like the offense will come around. Again, he's one of the more athletic players in this league. He can get to the rim. We know he could poster people. He's got that little baby hook. He can hit the mid-range. When he's really playing well, he could get to the 3. But it's just, if you're not doing well offensively, make an impact somewhere else. You can't just be a net negative. And for a while, Wiggins, there are times where if Wiggins isn't scoring, especially right now, the defense has not been spectacular from him. So you really want him to make his mark somewhere, and I'm glad that it's the glass that he's getting at. Steph really erupted in the first half. 28 points. I think he had a few in the third too, but just got shut down in the fourth. Didn't get many looks. He had some, 6 turnovers. They pressured him a ton, forcing the ball out of his hands. Like I said, I wish Steph at times would get a little more aggressive and assertive, which is saying a lot given he is the star on the team, the guy trying to put the team on his back. But the offense, especially when they're running lineups where where Chris Paul's out there, Draymond's out there, Kuminga's out there, Steph needs to be the guy hunting the shots. He has to be. It can't be something where the first action gets cut off and then Steph just points and says, over there, someone else do it. Because that's not a lineup that's really looking to have a ton of guys create shots. It's having guys trying to create for Steph. And, Having Chris Paul and Draymond, that entire presence and purpose is so that you have multiple guys who can make the right reads to get Steph, to get Clay the ball. And, we're just seeing a little bit of one thing gets cut off, then Clay ends up on an island, or CP ends up on an island, Steph on an island, and that's not going to help you offensively. It just isn't. So again, especially against a team like the Cavs, where they pretty much relegate you to shooting threes, if you're not moving around offensively and disrupting their defensive patterns or schemes, then you're setting yourself up for failure, and you're settling for bad shots. So that's the main thing I think they need to work on. Because again, I don't think it's height. Like, they could have won this game. 10 free throws missed. If they made a couple more shots, they smoked a couple layups. But shots that they normally make just weren't falling. They even played good defense, but again, the offense in general for the Warriors has just been a little off to start. So if they can tighten up a couple things as far as keeping things moving and not getting stagnant, they'll be fine. They'll be fine because the defense is tightening up and looking better. Again, that Thunder game, the Warriors still played good defense. It was just, that was an insane game for the Thunder. So you just sometimes you run into teams that are playing like a buzzsaw. For the bench has been easily the best part of this Warriors team to start the season, and is quite literally the reason, aside from Steph Curry, why they're 5-1 or 5-2 to start the season. Tonight, however, the second quarter for the bench was brutal. They played unbelievable defense. I think they held the Cavs to like 8 of 24 shooting, if I'm not mistaken, 9 of 24 shooting, but they themselves went like 5 of 28 from the field. They scored, I think, 1 point like through the first 7 minutes. It was just a brutal quarter. They got held to 15 minutes, like you see right there. It was a really rough one. They couldn't buy a basket to save their lives. Everything was off. Cleveland was just shutting them down. They didn't have good ball movement. Everybody was getting stagnant. Chris Paul was having to take shots he shouldn't have had to take because guys stopped moving. And, Chris Paul is a smart player. He's not just going to sit there with the ball. He's going to try and create a shot. And because the offense isn't there yet, it just didn't look too good. But, I don't know. It's that seems like an outlier. There hasn't been a single quarter up until that one where the bench was just not good offensively. So, like I said to start this whole thing off, Warriors have played 5 of their 7 games, on the road. A little bit of travel fatigue to start things off. Again, they're not a very young and spry group. They got the bench guys that are, but many of them are no spring chickens. So I think this home stretch is going to be very nice for them. That'll be coming up soon. Ojo barely played in crunch time or garbage time, so whatever. Gary Payton played great defense, as always. Played great defense. He hit a 3. He had a big time alley-oop from, I think it was Draymond. It was just one of those games, and I've said it before with Gary. It's like, if the offense is not looking good, then Gary's spot on the floor doesn't look too good. That was one of those instances, -10, but we know how impactful he is. Moses has come back down to earth. He had a fantastic first few games, but the indecision that I was talking about in the preseason recap to start everything off, that's lingering back in, and that's what I was worried about. Moses, he's played well, and I said I'd take back what I said before in the other Warriors reactions, but it's still visible. It's just before, even though it was visible, he was making shit happen, so you can't really say anything. But now it's visible, and he's not making shit happen. The confidence and the assertiveness just doesn't look like it's there, and that's why you see him only play 14 minutes, because it's kind of tough to, it's like, okay, you're unwilling to shoot, Like, he had a few open shots that he passed up. When you get the ball and someone's on you, you kind of sit there and look around like a, deer in headlights, trying to find someone to quickly pass the ball to, instead of like, trying to make something happen for yourself, break down the defense and create a look for someone else. It's just, I don't know. Moses has moments where he looks like extremely engaged, and super like hyper aware and confident of himself. And then he has games like this one where, it looks like he's a G League dude. So I don't know. This is again one of those moments where, it's, you've got a guy like Podziemski on the bench who, in his short minutes, was still making stuff happen. He was a +5. Be careful, be careful, because Podziemski, he gets on the glass a ton. He elevates dudes with the playmaking, and if he has to score, we know he can. We've seen it. Like, Moses needs to know that shit ain't guaranteed over here, man. You're not Kuminga. Kuminga can get away with being a little bit off because he's 6'8" and can guard 1 through 4. Moses needs to play above and beyond to really hold that spot in the rotation, and that doesn't mean he has to be perfect like he was the first couple games, but you gotta look like you belong out there, and tonight I felt like he didn't. Speaking of Podziemski and Trayce Jackson-Davis, we'll group the rookies here. I think they both played very well. I know Trayce only played 12 minutes and picked up 4 fouls, but he had a couple great moments. He had a good block on Darius Garland. He got a stop on Evan Mobley. He played some good ball, got a couple shots at the rim, left a couple at the rim, as we saw 1 for 6 from the free throw line. But you see the impact that he could have. Just the vertical spacer gives the Warriors another layer. We've talked about it many times last season. Just giving yourself multiple ways to attack a team helps, because then they have to start respecting multiple ways for you to attack them. And I think it's going to be one of those things where I know, he was supposed to go down to Santa Cruz and came back up immediately. I said it before. I don't know how you put these guys in Santa Cruz. I don't know. How can you do that? Like, you need Trayce Jackson-Davis. You need him. Because Dario, even though he's a smart defender and he tries to play great defense, we know he can rebound and we know he can stretch the floor. He's not a good defender. He gets bullied. They pick on him. These backup centers circle Dario Saric's name and go straight at him, and it always ends up in free throws. So, Trayce, he's going to play an integral role. I hope he does, at least. If he doesn't, it's not going to be a good look for Steve Kerr, because, you need to give this dude some run time, some serious run time. And Podziemski, like I said, for Moses, be careful. This dude he's not Brad Wanamaker. He's not a bum. He's not Kai Bowman. He is a very good player, and he makes everyone else around him better. And it's one of those things where, I mean, shit, man, if you're a Warriors fan watching this, you tell me who looks more confident out there. You tell me who you feel more comfortable with out there. For me, it's Podziemski. Just based off of how he looks out there. Not even how he plays, just how he looks. He's assertive. He's even telling the offense what to do and shit. On the bench, he's talking. He's calling things out. He's letting people know where to be, how to move. Moses, he gets out there and it's kind of just like dead. Not really seeing much. But I still believe in Moses. This is nothing like this isn't like a James Wiseman thing where it's like, yeah, I've lost all hope. This dude's just not a basketball player. For Moses, it's just someone needs to ignite that fire and, keep it there, because it's a little bit hit or miss and you don't want it to be that. But other than that, that's kind of how the Warriors game broke down. We all know the rebounding total was not going to go the Warriors' way. They got crushed a little bit on the defensive glass, 27-42. Assist total, they didn't hit that 30 assist mark, which typically means the Warriors win. They got 26, 12 turnovers. They forced 18 turnovers. They did let Cleveland get to the line 28 times, but against a team as big as them, it's a little hard not to, especially when you've got a guy like Darius Garland who's super shifty and plays the pick and roll as much as he does, as you can see. 13 free throws. Held Donovan Mitchell to 4 free throws, which is a good thing because he's someone who could get to the line like 15 times with ease, kind of like Dame. So it was just a rough game for the Warriors. Kind of how it goes on the road sometimes. It's just nothing really clicks. You're playing an opponent that everything clicks. And even for the Cavs, not everything really clicked. They had kind of a rough game themselves, but played well enough to hold off the Warriors, who honestly, at no point were it was not a blowout. I mean, you see the score, they lost by 11, but they were within 10, or like, 11 to 10 points, sometimes even less in single digits for the majority of the game. So, not a bad one. Just Warriors didn't come out with the win here. Who do they play next? Let us see. They play Detroit next. Okay, so, and that's in Detroit at 4 on Monday, which is tomorrow, so it's a back-to-back rough. I imagine Steph's going to get sat here. Would not be shocked whatsoever. Or at least Clay, because I know Clay was questionable to start this game. Then on Wednesday, Denver. That's going to be a very tough game as well. But they are back home for a big stretch here after that. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it, man. Tough game. Can't win them all. Is what it is, But Warriors, they're not the team of last season, and I have full faith that they're going to be fine. I think they can win this game here in Detroit. I think they've got a talented enough squad. You just, again, similar to Cleveland, you got two big men that are playing in Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. They're going to be a tough cover, but they're a little bit smaller bigs. I think Duren's like 6'10", but I know Isaiah Stewart's 6'8". Marvin Bagley's a bit more of a finesse big, but still it's gonna be a fun matchup, and I hope the Warriors can play a little bit better there, just getting the offense more consistent. So yeah, that's gonna wrap things up. I'll be back with the podcast tomorrow. That'll be with Dominic, and then the game is at 4, so potentially, not for certain, we will be uploading that reaction recap same day as well. So that's gonna do it. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the football game. If there's a football game tonight, I don't know. The Seahawks got fucking mollywopped. We're fraudulent. Sorry. I know, but yeah. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.